Welcome to the Talk Like a Leader podcast, where we explore the mindset, skill set, and habit set of leadership communication. Using these tips, techniques, and tactics, you'll be able to talk like a leader to build better relationships and get more done. Your host is Guy Harris, who has more than 20 years of combined professional and military experience in consulting, coaching, and training in areas like team and interaction dynamics, communication strategies and tactics, as well as emotional intelligence. Take it away, Guy.
Hi, this is Guy Harris. Welcome to Talk Like a Leader. This week's episode is titled, How You Can Blow Another Person's Mind. In the context of the phrase, blowing someone's mind, or my mind was blown, that tends to represent some kind of surprise, often a pleasant one or an interesting one from a learning a new idea standpoint. It doesn't typically, at least in my experience, point to a negative situation. It's usually positive or maybe neutral. And there is a way you can blow someone's mind that does have a negative result. So let's take a look at how that could happen. In our efforts to communicate with people, we're attempting to get new information to them and also get information from them. It's the reciprocal give and take of information. And so I'm going to draw a parallel between human beings and sealed containers of carbonated beverages. And let's presume that there's a little bit of space in our hypothetical carbonated beverage container. Maybe it's a bottle with a top that you can screw on it. So it has had some liquid removed from it. There's space in it for more. And if you take this container and shake it up, you probably already know that the pressure is going to build inside that container. And if I want to get more liquid into that container, two things must happen. I have to get the lid open, first of all. It has to be an open container. And secondly, I have to find a way to get the pressure inside the container less than the pressure outside the container. Well, if it is shaken up and pressurized internally, and I just open the top quickly, you probably have seen this experience where foam comes all over the place out of it. And so that foam, if you go back to a human being perspective, might be their emotions spewing into the room. Because here's how human beings are like sealed containers. Our behaviors, our words, our actions, our expressions are external, and our emotions are internal. And so when emotions build, like pressure in a container, the emotions create pressure internal to us. And if that pressure gets too high, our mind can be blown. Hopefully not in a really, really extreme way, but in a way that makes it difficult for us to control our words and actions. So let's take this analogy of the person being like a carbonated beverage container and apply it to the communication world. Let's say I'm having a conversation with a person and I want to hear their perspective and I want to share mine. Well, just like the carbonated beverage container, I first have to open the container. And in this case, I'm a container and they're a container. So I have to be open and they have to be open. If I've done anything to build excessive pressure inside this person, it's not likely that they're going to be open. And if they are, it's probably going to spew foam, or in this case, maybe anger or frustration all over the room. Not my desired effect. If I want to create a scenario where the other person is open to hear what I have to say, I have to be open to hear what they have to say. I also have to find a way to make it safe for them to voice their concern, make it clear that they've been heard and understood. Otherwise, they will just have very high emotional pressure and will be unable, not unwilling necessarily, but unable to hear what I have to say. So if I want to avoid blowing a person's mind, building too much emotional pressure inside them, so that one, they are closed to outside influence, and two, they have so much internal pressure they are unable to receive outside influence, I have to find ways to make it safe. I have to find ways to make myself a non-threatening person. And in this case, I hope it's clear by now, if you listen to very many episodes of mine, I'm not talking about physical safety. I'm taking that as a given. The safety context I'm talking about here is emotional safety. It's safe to have an opinion. It's safe to voice an opinion without fear of criticism or condemnation or any kind of negative consequence. That we are going to engage in a conversation for the purpose of understanding each other better and to come to some sort of resolution we can both live with. Even if we don't completely agree when the conversation is done, we can at least live with the outcome of the conversation and not have blown the mind of either person. And a blown mind in this case probably leads to, if not a totally blown relationship, at least a damaged one. So for this week, I want to encourage you to remember that in order to avoid blowing another person's mind in a negative way, meaning we have created so much emotional pressure for them that it's difficult for them to receive information or accept what we have to say, we have to focus on creating relational or emotional safety in the conversation. We have to look at our body language, our tone, our word choice, the way we approach them, in a way that makes it easier for them to hear and receive what we have to say. And while there's nothing we can do to guarantee they agree with what we say, we can make it at least safe to hear what we say. If you'll focus on becoming a safe person to have conversations with, you can talk like a leader. This has been the Talk Like a Leader podcast. You can listen to this show every week wherever you get your podcast. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. I'm Guy Harris, and thanks for listening.